here for you.
Hi, my dear Astro family. So today we are going to be looking at the upcoming new moon, which is a very complex new moon, actually. There is a lot of goodies in it, and there are some frustrating elements as well. So in the very first part of the video, I will break this down for you. I highly recommend listening to the first part of the video, and then once you've done that, you can go on your ascendant sign or sun sign, whichever you would like to go with, and then listen to your brief general forecast for your own sign. So what does this new moon include? I mean, this new moon is in the sign of Cancer, taking place on the 25th or 26th of June, depending on where you are. It's on Leo Dwad, makes a conjunction to Jupiter, a trine to Vesta, has a quincunx to Pluto. Pluto is super important in this chart, by the way. Sextile Mars in Virgo and squares Saturn and Neptune conjunction as well at the same time. So we've got a Yod configuration going on where Pluto is the apex planet. On top of that, actually, this is a locomotive chart. And what it means is, I'm going to explain that later on in the video, but Pluto is the focal point of that. So I'm going to break this down on a mundane level as well as on a personal level. And on top of that, this new moon actually conjuncts an asteroid called Chaos and squares another one, which is going to be Arachne. So we've got a lot. Oh, and then on top of that, this new moon is out of bound. So there is a lot of word here, right? Which might need a lot of explanation, and I will do so. So I will be breaking this down for you, and then you will be able to understand every single detail of that. Now, before we get going, I would like to announce that I'm going to be having a two-part recorded webinar series. This is going to be released somewhere around the 10th of July, and it's going to be all planetary pairs connected to your financial sector of your chart. So I'm going to be giving you hints and tips how you can make money. So we're going to be looking at all Venus connections in the natal chart or possibly to the ruler of your second house. So if you are interested in this two-part webinar series, then which is going to be recorded, so you don't need to attend live. I'm going to be sending that out on the 10th of July. It's part, by the way, it's part of my Vocation Revisited course, but I decided to grab these two lectures out so that you can enjoy it and maybe you can look at your finances in different ways. But let's get started with this new moon. Let's break down all of it at the same time. So, we've got a new, first of all, we've got a new moon on a Leo dwad. Let me make a quick note on what dwads are. A dwad system divides each sign into 12 sections, subsections, and each ruled by one of the zodiacal signs. So the first 2.5 degree, 2.3 degree is the actual ruler of the sign, and then it goes one by one in zodiacal order. So because this new moon is taking place on 4 degree of Cancer, so this is going to be falling onto the second word, and that's the reason why it's a Leo. Okay, but the core energy is still Cancerian, but there is this strong underlying Leo influence. So, for example, I would like to protect my country. Why do I do that? Because of ego questions. So often, the Dwad is actually giving you a explanation of the psychological motives behind the sign. So we've got this new moon in Cancer, and the new moon would represent a fresh start, a new beginning. And Cancer brings focus to home, family, security, emotional well-being, roots, heritage, and the past as well. And the Leo element gives a need for recognition, self-expression. Sometimes we do that in a dramatic flair to these Cancerian themes. So, for example, I am very proud, Leo, of my heritage, and I'm ready to do something about it. Or I kind of like remembering how I have been hurt, how my pride got hurt, for example, in the past. So I would like to do something about it because this is a cardinal sign. Cardinal signs always want to do something. It's an action-orientated sign. So there are a new beginning in areas of personal security as well as belonging, but with a very strong desire to be seen, appreciated, heard for all these efforts. Now, this new moon conjuncts Jupiter as well. And whatever Jupiter touches, it expands it. But Jupiter is also considered to be the planet of luck and optimism and growth. It brings abundance and opportunities as well. So Jupiter here amplifies the new moon themes, making this actually a particularly important time for growth and new opportunities in the Cancerian part of your chart, infused with a touch of confidence, and that comes from the Leo dwad. I'm gonna be breaking this down. I'm just kind of like trying to give you the key players here and their energies. Now we've got Vesta in Scorpio, which is tightly entwined to this new moon, and Vesta represents devotion, sacred commitment, focus, dedication, and the Scorpionic energy adds intensity to it, depth, transformation. It focuses on hidden truth, shared resources, even psychological complexities. Now, a trine would indicate an easy flow of energy. It is kind of like the way out of difficulties. So it says we need to be focusing on what is truly sacred to us. Then this new moon makes a quincunx to Pluto. So we're going to talk a lot about Pluto today, which is the apex of the yod. But Pluto is the planet of power, transformation, death, and rebirth. It's in the sign of Aquarius, so it represents innovation, communities, humanitarian matters, future. Often Aquarius is considered to be rebellion. Now, this quincunx, it represents something that is awkward and it requires adjustment and re-evaluation. So we're going to have to be re-evaluating these Plutonian themes that I spoke about. And we've got Mars in Virgo, which is in sextile to this new moon. And Mars represents action, energy, drive, assertion. But this Mars has become more analytical, practical, service orientated, health conscious, detail focused. And this is a sextile, so it's considered to be an easy aspect or an aspect of opportunity. It suggests certain type of an easy flow. So it says that if we are practical, organized, and service-orientated actions, we'll actually support our new beginnings. So let's bring together these firstly on the mundane level. Oh, and then, sorry, I forgot to mention Saturn and Neptune as well. So both of them are in Aries. And basically, between the new moon, Saturn, and Neptune in the sign of Aries, then we've got Arachne in Libra. We've got a T-square configuration happening. So Saturn is all about, Saturn in Aries would show a challenge to this new beginning, challenging leadership, or we don't know how to assert the self. It can represent new structures of authority, disciplined initiatives, or frustrations and limitations encountered. When trying to start something bold, or when we are trying to start something fresh in the Cancerian part of our chart, and Saturn brings the test there. It is testing the courage. It says we need to build something new. We cannot get stuck in the past because the new moon is in the sign of Cancer. In order for you to create something new, you're going to have to move on. You're going to have to kind of like make yourself super strong and make you have to be making yourself as a leader. So, how we can bring these together? I mean, first of all, on the mundane level, let's start with the mundane level. I mean, it really feels like that this new moon is connected to certain type of developments when it comes to home, security, and national identity. So Cancer rules nations. It can actually represent the borders as well, kind of like the collective security system. And there is a fresh focus or even new initiatives around these themes. Now, because as mentioned earlier, it is on the Leo ward, there is a strong push for national pride here. There is a strong focus on a brand or on the image of the nation. Like, if I'm a fighter, I'm always going to be a fighter. If I am a peaceful person, I'm always going to be peaceful, and I don't want to walk away from that. But because it happens on the Leod word, it gives a dramatic flair. It's kind of like a dramatic declaration or a dramatic announcement connected to our national identity and security. Also, this could talk to us about economic or resource management related topics as well. I mean, because Jupiter is there, it suggests that there are certain type of an expansions and growth when it comes to the domestic economies or real estate or something to do with foundational industries. We've got Vesta in the sign of Scorpio, which is also focusing somehow on shared resources. So, what I can imagine here is that, okay, what happens with oil? Because Cancer represents liquids, certain type of liquids. Oil belongs to Neptune or a little bit more Piscean themes. But how much money, for example, with Vesta in Scorpio, like international finances, how much money you owe me? And with Scorpio, we might even deep dive into hidden and taboo financial matters, or we are kind of like exploring additional money somewhere, or I don't know, we've got certain type of resources that others do not have. So because this is a new moon, I can imagine certain type of new policies or agreement around these topics. Now, earlier mentioned, we've got this Pluto in Aquarius yacht configuration. And Pluto is the apex of this. So I would say that Pluto says we need a profound transformation here, how the society operates. Like particularly concerning technology, community structures, humanitarian efforts, and the quincunx always forces adjustments. So the new moon is connected to the nation, the country, the emotional foundation, the sense of security and belonging. And it means that we need to make adjustments around it. So I can imagine technological disruptions, like new technologies, for example, AI, digital currencies, and all those type of things, um, may dramatically alter traditional work structures. Or I can imagine that new technological advancements are kind of like introduced, and it has nothing to do with a certain type of traditional principles, for example. And of course, Cancer is kind of like, I want to work from home. So, is it a good idea to be working from home? There could be questions raised about that too. Let me mention that this new moon is not for 6 weeks. This new moon is minimum for a year. The reason why, because the Sun and Jupiter new synodic cycle just started anyway, and that lasts for approximately about 13 months. So this is a super important new moon. But I also can imagine somehow communities are being restructured. So, like how communities are formed or sustained. I can imagine a humanitarian crisis and responses. I mean, especially because this is a new moon, connects with Mars. Both of them are super reactive. So there is this crisis situation related potentially to human rights or the collective well-being or the future of the humanity and so forth. So the emotional response could be very Marsian or very Plutonian. Let's attack. Let's protect what we've got. And of course, this is also about the old systems that needs to be kind of diminished somehow. And therefore, people might go on demonstrations. Actually, I can imagine that in a lot of country because they want radical, innovative changes. And not to mention that even the public health can be impacted as well. That comes from the new moon in Cancer itself. Cancer is connected to healing. It's one of the healing signs, but Mars in Virgo indicates that too. We want something effective, practical, detail-orientated action when it comes to navigating the changes in the public health, for example. So I can imagine new public health initiatives or even logistical improvements or a stronger emphasis on efficiency and service industries as well. So I would say that this new moon is very significant, very profound. And on a mundane level, this is showing national identity, security, economic well-being. It's kind of like I can imagine people are going on the street because they feel like that their economic situation is not that strong. So why are we helping other countries we have no business with? Now let's look at some personal levels. So, of course, on a personal level, this is also something to do with a new beginning in your home and as well as in your emotional world. So this new moon wants you to initiate new projects and make changes related to your home, family, roots, as well as emotional well-being. Now, because this is a Leo word, so it's something to do with a strong urge to express yourself creatively. For example, at home or being able to express yourself creatively within your community and in your country. Maybe you are taking a lead within your own family, or you might want your home to be somehow a reflection of your personality, or there are somehow you would like to nurture yourself in a more authentic way. And this is what you get an opportunity for. Because, of course, this new moon conjuncts Jupiter, as I said. And Jupiter always brings the opportunities for growth and abundance. But we need to be able to be optimistic as well at the same time. So it could indicate that you would like to have a bigger home, for example. You would like to have a new living situation. You are welcoming a new member of the family into your family. So therefore, it can represent marriage or a birth of a child, or simply you are working on how to increase your emotional security. And maybe you also realize that, you know what, I need to be able to be a little bit more optimistic. I need to somehow walk away from the past so that I can start a better future. I would say that, because there is a square to Saturn and Neptune, it says we shouldn't be too optimistic. We shouldn't be too like feeling too secure and so forth. We're gonna have to be plan these things out. I mean, I would say that somehow this new moon is bringing a lot of issues back into the present from the past. And therefore, there are big mood swings connected to it. There is a lot of tear as well. There are things that are kind of like eating away your feelings. And even there is a little bit of a childishness connected to this. At the end of the day, I know what you think. Viktor, Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. The moon rules Cancer. So it should be something super positive. And by the end of it, it should be positive. I agree with that. But this new moon indicates that we're going to run into challenges and we have got to form, crystallize our visions with that Saturn and Neptune conjunction in the sign of Aries. We have to have a strong sense of identity. We need to know who we are, or we can even be super lost. And I think Vesta is super helpful here as well, which says that you need to anchor yourself. You need to focus on the deeper side of the issues because we might be just scratching the surface. Right? So on a personal level, maybe we need to focus on being able to get intimate with someone or being able to talk about a secret. And then we've got that sextile to Mars as well, which is also really good. But that Mars wants us to get going. It wants to do something. It wants to do something constructive, helpful, or it doesn't want to play dirty this time around because this is Virgo. And that's the sign of cleanliness. But let's get the ball rolling. So, the only challenge that we've got with this new moon is, of course, the Saturn, Neptune, and the Pluto. And it means that we start something fresh with Saturn, with the new moon, but then we run into certain type of blocks. Or all of a sudden we get scared, or we've got an authority figure who is trying to slow us down. So, what am I going to do about it? Am I going to give up? Am I going to walk away from this possibility or opportunity? Or I'm going to keep pushing and then moving forward? I would call Cancer also as something being like too attached to something. So if we are too attached to our home country, and I think migration is going to be quite a big topic coming up with this new moon, especially connected to Jupiter. And it feels like that there are going to be certain countries where they're going to potentially pull up barriers with that Saturn, Neptune, so that like minimizing how many peoples are coming around because there is Neptune involved, and Neptune is a slippery planet. So it looks like people will be able to slip through, but some are potentially going to be stopped, even killed, unfortunately. So this is where this new moon is really considering, do I want to be brave? Do I want to, cross the borders and all those type of stuff? And Jupiter is there, which is just running on faith and luck. And you know what? I'm gonna take my chances. I'm just hoping the best, and it's gonna work out anyway. And then what if it doesn't? So it says we need to be able to make smart choices. And it also somehow tells me that when we are dedicated to a personal transformation, when we are dedicated to potentially healing past wounds, so attending therapies, shadow work, or we are deep diving into family patterns, then basically that's a way out. That's what Vesta says. Or Vesta says that focus on the shared resources. Maybe make a new financial agreement. Join financial agreements. And in relationships, explore issues of intimacy or shared power as well, shared memories, and have practices that you commit to. It becomes kind of like sacred within the relationship. And then we're gonna do that kind of every single day. Now, as I said, we've got this yacht here. And on a personal level, Pluto in Aquarius says that you might feel this pressure somehow to evolve your ideas about what home means to you or what family means. And maybe some of you are going to be choosing their chosen family, right? It looks like that the traditional family system somehow might not be working for many. It doesn't serve you anymore, and you are being urged to find new and maybe welcoming different types of people. So it looks like that you are redefining what type of community you want to belong to. And maybe you're going to have to be able to walk away from your traditional kind of family unit kind of picture. And of course, Pluto and Aquarius represent online communities, humanitarian groups, and all those type of stuff. Right, well, what type of a role technology plays in my personal life? How do I integrate technology into my home or into my relationships? How does technology help us foster connections or does it cause isolations in my life? We're going to have to be able to think about these. And even me as an individual, how much do I contribute to the collective? So I can even imagine that certain type of countries will be calling upon people to join military services and all those type of things, which I have been talking about for a while. And also, Pluto always demands release. So, am I going to surrender to the new, or am I going to be fighting against the old? And that could be also a topic here. I think these are some of the topics that are popping up for us with with for us on a personal level. Other stuff that I want to talk about is because Mars is in Virgo, and I don't like to say though that Mars in Virgo often represents military preparations. And I think this is going to go down. There's going to be a reevaluation of military readiness. And Virgo is a meticulous sign, it is analyzing. So we're going to be doing a lot of those on a mundane level. I mean, this is kind of like Mars says we need to go for a perfect military execution. We're gonna have to have a very detailed planning, like rigorous training, for example. And because Mars is in quincunx to Pluto as well, it looks like that quincunxes are always about adjustments. So we are changing the way how the military structures are functioning, how that power is projected or how conflicts are handled. We are called upon changing the way how we are handling all these type of challenges. Of course, Cancer, the new moon is in Cancer, so this is all about defense and security. So it looks like we are restructuring those as well. We are looking at, or we are forced to somehow reorganize how we are defending our own borders. And not to mention that the quincunx is surely a sixth or an eighth house meta. So quincunxes can actually represent military readinesses or illnesses and all those type of things, but surely a tension. And this tension originates from the past, and that's Cancer. So, if I want to be connecting this to this new moon, I think there is going to be new national security directives. There is going to be preparations as a response to certain type of perceived threats. With that Pluto, most likely airlines are going to be shutting down, and we can already see that anyway. Or we are going to be mobilizing our resources, and that's Vesta in Scorpio. Or with Pluto in Aquarius, we are making the public aware, especially with the Leo dwad, which is obviously a spotlight. And then with Jupiter being right next to this new moon as well. So we are making the public aware of being safe or certain type of safety measures. So now we've got a little bit more to mention about this. As mentioned earlier, this new moon is out of bound. So let me talk about that a little bit. So basically, an out of bound planet is the one that exceeds the sun's maximum declination. And that's 23.27 degree north or south of the equator. When I talk about 23.27, I'm not talking about degrees, okay? I'm talking about latitudes and so forth. So when a planet is out of bound, basically it is higher than the 23.27. And out of bound planets are unconventional. It goes to the extremes. It's unrestricted. It is a very rebellious planet. I would say that the planet might be operating off the grid somehow. Why? Because it's outside of the usual solar rules. So it's acting out of the societal norms. So I would say that, when it comes to these home security type of matters, then we don't do these preparations in a conventional way. Uh, it's something that is boundary pushing there, or we are doing certain type of extreme measures. I really feel like that, whatever strategies that we are about to be coming up, those are going to be very radical, highly innovative, experimental as well, or there is going to be a lot of controversy going on, especially connected to technologies with Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, or something that is pushing ethical or legal boundaries even. And also, this could talk to us about extreme nationalism or isolations as well. So to be frank, I think you will hear a lot on YouTube that this new moon is a brilliant new moon. I'm not too sure that this new moon is the greatest one ever, but it's gonna get better. Surely, it's just not going to be this week. It's not going to be next week. I think this new moon is highly volatile, unfortunately, and it is led by emotions. And this new moon being out of planet, it means that when it comes to the collective emotions of people, it's highly volatile, unpredictable, and prone to extremes. So I think we're gonna see a lot of demonstrations on the streets. And even I can imagine what is gonna trigger this. That's the Leo dwad. And the Leo is a leader who is making an unconventional decision, and something kind of like escalates to a certain type of a conflict. So on a personal level, I mean, what you need to be watching out is that you can have this intense urge to break free from emotional dependencies or family expectations or societal norms, like how I should feel or how I should behave, type of things. And then you are like, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm walking away from this. Or I decide that, you know what? I'm going to be creating an unconventional home for myself. I don't care the way how I'm going to be, I don't know, decorating my room or how I'm going to dress up and all those type of things. So we challenge the traditions, we challenge the past, we challenge family norms. And maybe out of the blue, I just decide I'm about to relocate. And we might be able to see that also. Hmm. Okay, a couple of other things that we need to be talking about. This new moon is a locomotive chart. And the Pluto is the leading planet of this locomotive configuration. So, what is a locomotive chart? First of all, it means that all planets are within 240 degrees. And basically, they are leaving a little bit of an empty space here. Now, the empty space is approximately about 120 degrees. The, the planet clockwise of this empty space is going to be the engine of the chart. And the very last planet is going to be the one that is pushing the locomotive forward. So often the planet that pushes the locomotive is kind of like the hidden agenda. And the first planet is kind of like the front line of the army, right? So they are taking the heat. So if Pluto is the leading planet, then basically the core drive here is to make a change. It comes with a lot of intensity, a lot of obsession. The core drive is to gain power, to be able to control a scenario. This is all about uncovering the truth and go through a purification process, and something gets destructed here. Something gets demolished so that we can experience a rebirth. So this is what you might feel on a personal level. I mean, now you can actually most likely um, um, can imagine this, how this might be playing out on a mundane level as well. So just to give you an example on that, obviously, as I mentioned, this new moon in Cancer is out of orb, conjunct Jupiter, which is on one hand can represent, something going down with immigration or national security. Now, because the Pluto is the engine here, the initiatives are not just about protecting. It's kind of like being forced by the need to adapt to certain type of disruptive changes. So I hope that makes sense what I'm kind of like trying to explain here. Now, two asteroids are involved, and one of them is Chaos. And I mean, this new moon is out of bound, and then it conjuncts chaos as well. I think a couple of weeks ago I spoke about chaos, maybe not in the regular YouTube videos, but on the membership program that I'm running. But the fact that the new moon is out of bound, and then we've got chaos there as well. And chaos, what exactly means is what the name suggests. So it is about chaos. It is about a certain type of disruptions. It's breaking down something that doesn't work. And then we've got Oracle in Libra. And Libra deals with balance, justice, relationships, diplomacy. And Arachne suggests here that it is an intricate cobweb. This is an entangled situation, uh, kind of like a situation which we can look at from both ways. One will say it's just, the other one is going to say it's unjust. So it's kind of like the cons and the pros of a partnership or certain type of diplomatic agreements that are about to be made. And then some will say, yes, that's such a great idea, and some will hate it completely. That's where the chaotic new beginnings is clashing directly with certain type of complex relational dynamics or legal frameworks. But it's all in the name of creating harmony. It doesn't feel like there is shady stuff behind the scenes. So this new moon is a new beginning that is about to start with a lot of chaos, basically. We want to be emerging from this chaotic scenario, but the out of bound new moon indicates a lot of unpredictability to it. And therefore, the responses from people are kind of like, no, I don't follow the rules. So this is how I see this on a personal and on a mundane level. So I've created some reflection related questions and to help you pretty much uh, to kind of summarize what this video was about, or maybe that you can make certain type of reflections. So what new beginning related to your home, family, or emotional security that you are called upon to act on? How can you bring more authenticity in your life, or how you can become more confident? How can you bring that confidence or invite confidence into your private life? Are you ready to expand your sense of comfort or your emotional well-being? Meaning that you have to be going through an element of a healing. And maybe you are feeling called upon a boundary pushing um, nature. And therefore, you are meant to be redefining what family and security means in your life. What area of life you should be committed to? And are you committed to shared resources, intimate relationships, or psychological complexes, maybe in an intense way? And maybe I would say that, especially with Pluto, remember that's the engine of the chart right now. Something that is kind of like non-negotiable for you, and maybe you are even feeling compelled to like initiate something in your life, but it's non-negotiable, right? So I am I am doing it no matter what others are telling me. Or maybe you are called upon to confront your hidden truth, even power dynamics in your life, so that you can go through this radical rebirth. Mars is asking you, what practical and detailed actions are you going to take? Saturn is asking you as well that are you applying a more disciplined action? Are you going to get a little bit more organized? Or are you going to be all over the place? And that's Neptune. Okay, so guys, this is the general forecast of this new moon. So I hope it makes sense. And now let's get started with the 12 signs. So let's break down this new moon for all 12 signs. And I'm going to share the screen so you see exactly what is happening. So Aries rising sign, this new moon is taking place in your fourth house. I highly recommend listening to the beginning of the video where I give a general forecast because I'm not going to be describing the like every single placement all over again. So how I'm going to do this, I'm going to break down potential challenges, the supportive energies in there, some of the areas that might need adjustments. So the new moon in your fourth house is allowing you to start, for example, a new family life, to relocate. And this conjunct Jupiter, so it is giving you a lot of opportunity, growth, expansion, and potentially a good fortune if you are able to connect with family members, if you relocate, if you want to put down an offer for a house, and so on. Maybe potentially just you are looking for a bigger living space, or you are welcoming new family members into the family as well. Now, there are some challenges to this new moon, and one is the Neptune and Saturn conjunction in your seventh house. We can be confused with Neptune, where we want to go. We might be struggling to set clear boundaries. You might feel somehow disconnected from the family members, or you might feel disconnected from a place of living. And Saturn is there too. Somehow this could show that you are, there is this feeling of heaviness concerning you wanting to express who you are. Also, there could be duties or limitations as well related to your home. Maybe you feel like that this family is holding you back from moving on or dealing with the past as well. However, Vesta is supporting this. So this says be dedicated, focus on shared resources, on intimacy, or profound transformation. You're gonna have to find that emotional strength there. You're gonna have to be able to kind of focus on the creation of this new beginning, a harmonious foundation, and being committed to shared financial goals as well, or deep emotional clearance as well. That could be super beneficial. Like having the emotional strength to be able to overcome the obstacles. Even Mars is actually helping you from the sixth house, which is giving you now practical approach. It gives you the drive. It says that certain type of routines, for example, around the home environment, or if you do certain type of a sport, lifestyle changes, then you're gonna feel better in your own skin. Fourth house. Somehow your assertive actions, which are kind of detailed right now or a little bit more organized, are going to be supporting your home environment. There is a quincunx to Pluto in the 11th house, and that shows area of life where we need to make adjustments. And maybe we just need to be able to kind of like knock down the friends who are not supporting, for example, of you dealing with the past, with your emotional insecurities, and so forth. Maybe you are a little bit more on the private side, and then you don't want to be in like expressing who you truly are. Maybe you kind of feel like that your personal needs for house are somehow not met by other people, so you don't get the support somehow. But also, this could indicate that you just would like to start fresh. You need a new job, for example, and it's not that easy, right? But certainly, this could indicate that it's time to let go of certain type of friendships or even redefining some of your long-term goals to better align and to be able to evolve a stronger sense of self. So there is this new beginning, potentially bringing expansion and optimism to your family, to your home life as well. But I feel like that there is a burden for Aries rising sign right now. As in personal responsibilities, you've got a lot on your plate and so forth, and maybe you are unable to attend your home needs as much as you would like to. So you're gonna have to be able to focus a little bit on self-healing. You're gonna have to be kind of like coming up with a routine with certain type of plans, and then you are going to be able to navigate this through. You just need the courage to be able to move on. It's a new chapter, a fresh start in your home and family matters. And most likely it starts quite on an optimistic note, actually, with Jupiter being there. And you are optimistic that you are ready to be able to move away from the past. So, as I mentioned, relocation, a new addition to the family member could be actually potentially happening. Or maybe you have got something to celebrate. You are about to be selling a home, for example. Maybe there are certain type of underlying doubts there, or it could even indicate misplaced kind of like you are trusting the wrong stuff. So that's why we need clarity before actually we make certain type of decisions, and just watch out for these fears that you might be having. That Saturn Neptune says we kind of need to be able to cut out any type of illusions. So that would be this new moon for you, Aries rising sign. So let's have a look at what happens to Taurus. The new moon is taking place in your third house, so this could be a fresh start in areas of communication, learning, connecting with your local environment, even certain type of short travels. You can start fresh with your siblings. Now, maybe it is all about that you want to be having more of a kind of like a nurturing communication with someone. You would like to be able to reconnect, for example, but also you might be learning a little bit more about the past, learning a little bit more about your family. You can actually have a interest towards history, ancestry, home. Maybe you want to be creating a more comfortable or a more emotionally supportive local environment as well. And as mentioned earlier, potentially you can start fresh with your siblings also. And you can be super kind of like excited about it because Jupiter is conjuncting this new moon, which would indicate that there is this expanded communication here. Jupiter brings growth. We can be super optimistic. We can get quite fortunate, especially if we communicate on an emotional level, if we are connecting with others, if you are able to share your feelings openly with others. This could give you a lot of opportunities actually to study something. Maybe you have decided to sign up for a course, for example. You can meet some like-minded people as well. You can have fantastic emotional discussions with others also. And as I said, it could be your neighbor, your sibling, your relatives, and so forth. However, this new moon is being squared by Saturn and Neptune in the 12th house. There are certain type of fears there. There are hidden feelings or a little bit of an isolation type of things. So it kind of tells me that we're going to have to be able to get out of our cocoon a little bit. We are afraid somehow to communicate freely, or we are afraid to engage with others. So subconscious fears, some type of limitations that are there, especially connected with that Saturn, or simply we just want to be alone, Neptune. We are running away from something. We have got some self-undoing behaviors. Obviously, that is somehow stemming from your fears, though. Maybe you are struggling to kind of create boundaries. You would love to have a chit chat, for example, with your sibling, but you know that they are going to be overly sensitive. They are going to stay in your house for a long time, and then you kind of feel drained somehow. Now, this new moon makes a trine to Vesta, which indicates that we can have really harmonious connections and conversations with a partner. About commitment, for example, about stability. We can actually create a new foundation to our relationships. We're just going to have to be able to foster that connection, to have a heartfelt type of conversation. This new moon is being quincunxed by Pluto. Now, Pluto is in your 10th house right now, which indicates somehow that there is certain type of power struggles that are potentially might be going down in your career, or you would like somehow to control your public image. You are focused on your career, or simply you are focused a little bit more on your reputation. You can be compelled to achieve status. If you want to achieve status, that new moon is super important. So we're going to have still a heartfelt conversation with someone. So, and this new moon is being sextiled by Mars as well, and Mars is in the fifth house. So Mars represents here that your drive, your action is all about like expressed through creativity, hobbies, romance, or children, or anything to do with speculative businesses as well. So I would say that if we have got the desire to, for example, sell your business, or you want to be chipping into a business, that could be a fantastic opportunity for you. But you might be a little bit worried, what if it ends up being a loss? I would say that this could even help you definitely to reconnect with a flame of yours. And then maybe we are able to talk about that this relationship needs to be moving forward. Because even the Pluto there, which represents the status, like I want to talk to you about the status of this relationship. I would also say that you can get some really good news as well, or you can have a lot of new ideas, which you have to be making a decision about. But those hidden fears, maybe a guilt that is somehow holding you back. And then it says that being hopeful is super important, but you're going to have to be able to address what is happening in the background. All right, so let's move on to Gemini rising sign. So, dear Gemini, this is taking place in your second house, the house of finances. This new moon can be a fresh start, like a new way of earning money. You might be focusing a little bit more on your self-worth. Maybe watch out because this could indicate emotional spending as well, especially with Jupiter being there. A lot of desire to spend money on things that make you feel emotionally secure as well as comfortable. The second house represents gifts as well. So you might want to be buying a big gift, for example, to a family member, but also you might be reevaluating of what you truly value. Do I value this family tradition? Do I want to live in the past? What my emotional needs are? I feel like that this is a self-worth matter for many of the Gemini rising sign, and how you are nurtured and how you nurture others could be becoming a topic. Maybe you want to be making money out of home, and maybe you just want to be budgeting a little bit more for like being able to buy a property. Maybe you are setting a budget, for example, for improvements, or simply you are thinking about a new source of income. Of course, this is actually conjuncting Jupiter. So you are very hopeful that maybe there is going to be growth financially. You're going to get somehow lucky. What Saturn says, though, is that there is no such thing as luck. You're going to have to work for it. It's kind of like being at the right time at the right place or being surrounded by the right people as well. This altogether tells me that it's all about finding the opportunity, not just sitting on your laurels and then waiting on it. But it definitely gives you the opportunity to build wealth. Watch out because we can become a little bit more inclined to be generous as well. We might be having plans of investing into something due to high optimism. So that's where Saturn comes into the picture, which is the restriction, responsibilities, and certain type of limitations. So altogether, it could indicate that you have got some really long-term goals, right? And those long-term goals or the friendship are impacting your finances as well as your self-worth. You have got your personal financial needs, which you would like them to grow. And then there is the demand of your social groups, your future aspirations, and of course, the budgeting element. However, this new moon makes a sextile to Vesta in the sixth house. It says, be dedicated to the service that you give, be devoted to your daily routines, work, health, and then it is super helpful. So focus on what kind of like a service you would like to make money out of, kind of like have a strategy for it, because then it should be working out pretty well. This new moon makes a quincunx to Pluto in the ninth house. So this is all about having to shift your mindset, having to transform your mindset. You might have got this very rigid belief system that you need to be looking at, or you might need to be investing into, for example, higher education, or the plans that you are about to have can happen, for example, in foreign countries. It also sextiles Mars as well in your fourth house. And again, this is very driven to buy a home, to sell a home, to rebuild a home, to fix something up in the home environment. So you might be spending money on that. Mars in Virgo is a little bit more on the practical side. So it also wants you to be disciplined when it comes to your finances. And also it can say that you might get certain type of a support, for example, from family members. However, it might come at a cost though. Because, at the end of the day, it's Mars. I would say that big purchases, a new approach to your values, an opportunity could be popping up here that is super promising. Maybe this opportunity is coming from a friend of yours. But I would say that the net, like the bottom line, the result of it is that it might not be that huge as you imagined at the beginning. And also, this might be also about having to put yourself out there, and potentially there might be a little bit of a stage fright there, or maybe like a boss, like a friend of yours will become a boss, and that's a little bit of a frustration there. Okay, let's move on to Cancer rising sign. This is going to take place in your first house, the house of self. So this new moon is basically a fresh start in how you approach things, how you present yourself to the world. Yes, there is emotional sensitivity here. You are about to be starting a new chapter. in your life. So this could indicate that you are either super excited or you super scared from it. But obviously, you would like this security in your life. You would like to be more aligned with something that you do and makes you feel safe, makes you feel comfortable. And maybe this is also that you just want to go back to your roots, not necessarily just from a family point of view, but like something that you used to love. And that comes from Vesta in your fifth house. Vesta says focus on things that you truly enjoy. Focus on your hobbies a little bit. But this new moon conjuncts Jupiter, sorry, there is an element of a confidence there. There is an element of excitement about showing who you are, kind of like showing that new emerged self of yours. And if you are able to do that, then I feel like it's gonna bring you luck. Now, we do have got some challenges, and that's the square to Neptune and Saturn in the 10th house. And maybe there is, you know, like I need a job. I've got responsibilities towards my parents. I feel super limited within my career. What if maybe it's even a little bit of a fear. What if I'm not going to be able to make it? You can get a little bit confused about your life direction as well. Maybe it's difficult for you to do the public standing somehow, but I would say that it's kind of necessary, putting yourself out there right now. As mentioned earlier, Vesta is all about be focused and devoted to creativity, to your hobbies, potentially make money out of your hobbies. And also, this could indicate that you are actually focusing a little bit more on your romantic life as well. We do have got Pluto in quincunx to this new moon though. So it does show that we have got certain type of fears. We're gonna have to see or kind of get to know our inner strength, our inner like hidden talents. There are psychological complexes there that you need to be able to move away from. And also you have got financial considerations to make. You are dealing with financial matters. Maybe you are a little bit worried about how this is going to play out financially. Also, you receive a sextile from Mars as well, though. And this is all about kind of feeling excited, putting energy into communication, writing your CV, learning something new as well. Maybe you get a little bit of a support or even criticism from your local environment. So overall, this is a nice new moon to have. I would say that a new identity is about to be emerging. Maybe you are going to be focusing a little bit more on your appearance. Maybe certain type of relationships in your life are about to be growing. They can actually help you navigate these little bit of confusing times. But I think there is a blockage there, and that's doubt, that's illusion. Also, it can indicate that you are being misled by a boss of yours as well. So, if you are about to be signing a contractual agreement, I would say be precise, be thorough about it. Mars in Virgo also reminds you of that too. Okay, let's move on to Leo rising sign. So, Leo, this new moon is taking place in your 12th house. This new moon in your 12th house shows a fresh start, somehow related to your subconscious, hidden matters, spirituality, isolation, and healing. Maybe you are about to be emotionally releasing something. Maybe you are about to be trying to process old emotional wounds, fears, subconscious patterns, potentially related to the past or family matters. It can give you an increased intuition as well. You are more connected with your intuitive side. Maybe you are dreaming and then you are trying to make sense of them, make a meaning out of these dreams. You can become super compassionate, super service orientated. Maybe you feel like that this is the new path. Somehow you want to be in. service to others, but also it can indicate that you need a little bit more solitude. You need time to reflect, to replenish, and to practice certain type of a self-care. Now, with Jupiter there, it's about inner growth. So we need to be focusing on that inner growth. We need to be optimistic. We need to be recalibrating that subconscious so it doesn't dictate out of fear. And it is kind of like a hidden blessings here. Maybe often it's unexpected. You have got certain type of a protection, but don't just undermine it. Don't just expect something huge to be happening. It's an unseen type of protection, or you get something from someone, but you don't know who that is. And but I think this is gonna be a lot of self-discovery that you are going through. Now we do have got a square to Saturn and Neptune in the ninth house, and what can hold you back is a limited belief system. Or you would like to be doing a lot of reflection and so forth, but you have got travel plans. And obviously, if I travel, I cannot be much alone. Or maybe you are planning to travel to be able to be a little bit alone as well. But I would say that there are these hidden fears. There is a need here for spiritual healing. But if you have got a limited mindset and you don't let your intuition to flow, to become more sensitive, then unfortunately Saturn and Neptune has won there. It does trine Vesta in the fourth house, which says focus on your roots, figure out where you came from. Kind of like create this sanctuary for yourself at home. You can get very committed as well to create a stable, nurturing home environment. You want to focus a little bit more on creating a harmonious foundation for yourself. So even this shows an inner healing as well. Pluto makes a quincunx to this new moon, and maybe there are some power struggles happening with others. Maybe actually you feel like there is a need to make a change within your partnership, one-to-one relationships, or you have to be eliminating certain type of enemies. But I think it's an intense inner drive to gain control over your life and to be optimistic enough to start fresh. Sextile is also getting formed between the new moon and Mars. And Mars in the second house is very focused right now on finances. We are driven to make more money. We are driven to feel better in our own skin. But it also says we're going to have to analyze. We're going to have to see those roots. Maybe we're going to have to be investing into our healing also. But let's come up with a plan. Let's not want to do everything at the same time. We need a disciplined approach to manage our finances, to organize our resources, and to build our self-worth up again. Let's move on to Virgo rising sign. Dear Virgo, this new moon is happening in your 11th house, the house of goals and friendship. This new moon gives you the opportunity to make emotional connections with others. And maybe this is a deeper, more meaningful connection. Maybe you just want support from your friends. Maybe you want to create a better bond with them. Maybe you want just to connect to your clients, to create a community, for example, to contribute to the society, to groups or communities as well. It's kind of like building your own family. Like my friends are my family, and then I want them to be able to support me, and I want to be able to support them as well. Now, this new moon is it's in conjunction to Jupiter, which shows that your social life could be quite active right now. You can make more friends. You can get lucky through your friends as well. So make sure that you meet new people, join new groups. That could even bring you joy as well. You can become super optimistic about your goals. You might be telling yourself, yes, I can do it. I can achieve it. You have got aspirations right now. And maybe you feel like that your wishes are going to be granted this time, and maybe your friends are going to be supporting you as well. What you need to be dealing with, though, is your inner demons. Because we've got a square coming from Saturn and Neptune, and maybe you feel like that your resources are limited. Maybe you are having trouble of making intimate connections, for example, with your friends, or you cannot associate yourself with a certain type of a goal, or maybe you feel like that, you have got maybe a debt and you are scared to move towards your future aspirations due to debts and so forth. But I feel like this is going to be deep-seated financial fears. This new moon receives a trine from Vesta and says, focus on your studies, communicate, learn, connect with your local environment. I feel like that this is all about making sure that the communication is clear, thought through, the plan is thought through. We've got a disciplined approach when it comes to learning and whatever we've got to say and share with others as well. And the last aspect that this new moon makes is a quincunx to Pluto in your sixth house. You might feel very empowered to fix something, like fix connections in your life, for example. And also, maybe you just want to have control over your daily routines and your work. And potentially, you even want to feel better, and then you are driven to make changes in your health routines as well. I also would say though that this could indicate certain type of power struggles, for example, in your work environment. And it could be kind of like making your social connections or social life a little bit more awkward. Like I fall out with a work colleague of mine who is the friend of my best friend, that type of scenario. And I'm not too sure if we want to be hanging out. Mars makes a sextile also to this new moon, and you are really focused now on your self-image, how you present yourself to the world. And you want to come across precise, potentially sporty, or an achiever. So I feel like this sextile is all about self-improvement. And you can focus on that quite a lot. And then if you are focusing on your self-improvement, it could help you to pursue your long-term goals as well as to make connections, to gain clients. So work on that confidence level and efficiency, and I think you are on the right track. Let's move on to Libra rising. Okay, so Libra rising sign, this new moon Jupiter conjunction is happening in your 10th house. Remember, the new moon is out of bound. So this can indicate that you are a little bit overreactive at work. But with Jupiter, it's very fortunate. It's somehow helping you to positively influence on your career, even in your public life as well. You might be having these big ambitions, even a strong desire to make positive impact on the world. You are optimistic that if you leave your job, for example, then it's going to work out, for example, and eventually it will. Actually, you can get recognized for something. You can even achieve certain type of a success. However, this new moon squares Saturn and Neptune in your seventh house. And this suggests a bit of a tension between your career aspirations and your relationships with others. So someone might be challenging the work that you do, or there are certain type of restrictions in your partnerships that impacts your professional life. Maybe relationships feel a little bit heavy right now or demanding, and then you are unable to kind of do what you would like to. So we're gonna have to be able to balance things out here a little bit. Obviously, there is the desire here for a personal growth, and there are the desires of others as well. And you're going to have to be able to navigate between those two. And of course, we've got Neptune involved here as well. And there is a kind of like the like it wants you to awake a little bit because there is an element of an idealism here going on, or you feel deceived by the partner, or others have got unrealistic expectations of you, or you have got unrealistic expectations of others. And then it's very easy to project our ideas onto others. Now we've got a Pluto quincunx to this new moon as well, and there is an underlying tension here between your career or your ambitions towards your creative expressions, even your romantic life or the relationship that you have got with children and so forth. And it can feel like that I constantly have to compromise in these areas. And you might feel that you are not powerful because of that, or you have become obsessive somehow with your public image or with your professional goals. And then the partner feels like that you have been ignoring the needs of theirs. So, therefore, it can lead to a certain type of a power struggle. Vesta says, though, that you need to be focusing a little bit on your self-worth and on your finances. So, if you are focusing on your financial well-being or the sense of security, then this new moon is potentially giving you the element of growth. Uh, Obviously, your ambitions and the ability to generate money, income, are superly, supported here in your chart. But it looks like that the wall that you have to be able to remove is the expectations of others or certain type of relationship challenges. Even Mars is supporting this new moon for you as well, which is working behind the scene. This Mars is working more effectively. It doesn't want to get distracted much. However, it can get distracted easily. So I recommend using it in a quiet, like place or doing methodical work, analytical work, and that you can benefit. Your public image can benefit from that. You might have got some hidden projects that you don't want to reveal to others right now, like your plans. It's better to keep it quiet because that Saturn Neptune can bring you certain type of challenges, and maybe they are going to be stealing your ideas and so on. So good luck, Libra rising sign. Now let's move on to Scorpio. So the out of bound new moon is taking place in your ninth house, conjunct Jupiter. So, first of all, this really feels like that you have got to explore your belief systems a little bit. Maybe there is an opportunity here to relocate, to study something, or to travel somewhere. But it's definitely telling you to be more optimistic, listen to your gut feelings, expand your horizons, and seek meanings. And maybe the meaning is going to be happening if you are able to look at, your roots, for example. Your beliefs might be deeply personal and rooted in the need of security. And but Jupiter is there too. And this conjunction to the new moon, I mean, it really feels like that you want to grow, you want to learn, you want to explore. You are very optimistic that these opportunities are coming your way, that this is going to be a fantastic travel, this is going to be a great course. This is about the love of truth, and you want to share your insights with the world as well, though. The reason why you need to be a little bit careful is because this moon is out of bound right now. So it operates outside of the kind of like the limits. It doesn't give a basically a crap about the rules. And then we can really kind of like react to things too emotionally. And that Saturn is telling you also to be a little bit more cautious. So let's say you've got a travel plan here. But the travel plan or the desire to relocate, visit family members, and so forth are somehow being challenged by work demands or health concerns. And then obviously that new moon has got a grand vision here. And then you feel like that you are running into certain type of practical limitations. So therefore Saturn tells you to work even more diligently and build a structure here. Be disciplined so that you can support that larger goal or vision that you have got. I mean, the other problem could be with Neptune that you kind of feel like that how a day should look like. An ideal day should be like this. And then Saturn says, yeah, but there is no such thing as ideal day. And there are going to be kind of like unexpected turmoils that we're going to have to be able to fix. But it also says, though, that you need to be putting boundaries in your work environment, or even your physical body can be a little bit like affected if your purpose is unclear or you are running away from practical demands, and that could lead to certain type of confusions. This new moon has got a quincunx to Pluto. And it shows that you have got this self-discovery journey. You are exploring your emotions, your homes, and so forth with the ninth house. But Pluto says we're gonna have to be digging deeper. We're gonna have to be looking at the dynamics within ourselves, within our home environment. And something like the past, the family, do not align with your philosophical or spiritual path. And that's why you would like to make adjustments in your life. That's why you need the knowledge. Or that's why you need to travel so that you can discover something about yourself. Vesta says also in your first house that focus, because it supports, focus on your personal growth, focus on how you express yourself outwards. It looks like that if you pursue a higher knowledge or you expand your mindset, then it's going to change the way you define yourself or interact with others as well. I mean, maybe you are going to be more focused on coming across to others more committed, but this can even indicate that you are very committed to your belief systems, or you are super committed right now to relocate, to study something, and you can be super dedicated as well to what you believe in. And then if you believe in the self, that vision is going to be born. Mars is also super goal orientated here, right? So Mars is pretty much also working on a long-term project here. It's a long-term aspiration, and it says, okay, let's plan this shit out. Let's come up with a plan. Let's approach it from a more methodical way, or let's find efficient ways of working within a group or for social causes. So obviously that new moon wants more knowledge and it has got a belief system. And with Mars, let me find someone who supports these opportunities. So it looks like that you should be feeling motivated to make interactions with friends and groups, and someone can help you out. Okay, let's move on to Sagittarius rising sign. So, dear Sagittarius, this new moon is taking place in your eighth house. And this is a possibility for a fresh start. And the fresh start could be coming uh, to be able to analyze your psychological complexes or to even analyze your financial situation a little bit. You seem to be focused, or you seem to be a little bit more optimistic that the changes can happen finally, and that those changes made are going to lead to a profound transformation in your life. But also, this is maybe giving you the opportunity to share something hidden with others about you, and that could feel like uplifting. Now, Jupiter is there, which is also about, I mean, it represents growth and and good fortune. So the plan could be here is that let's increase the resources. Let's invest into something. It gives you the opportunity to get inheritance where you can have these profound transformative experiences. And it can be actually something out of the body experience as well with the out of bound moon. But you are dealing with something deep, some intense matters, but maybe you are attracting some beneficial partnerships. Maybe it's financial, maybe it's intimate, and it leads to a psychological healing and growth as well. Now, this new moon does square Saturn and Neptune as well. Now, what Saturn says there is you would like to, let's say, grow finances, or you would like to create more of an intimate bond with others, but it somehow clashes with the responsibilities towards a romantic connection or to your children. Like I'm being afraid of introducing my children to my new boyfriend, for example. Or I don't have the time, Saturn, to go on a date, but I would like to create a more intimate bond with someone. There are certain type of duties here that looks like it's a bit of a burden, or simply you are feeling very motivated to make intimate connections with others, but you are still lacking a little bit of a confidence. The square to Neptune shows that you might be having still unrealistic expectations of a partner or towards a creative project and the investments that you are about to be making. So watch out because these could lead to disappointments. And therefore, it could indicate misunderstandings, for example, with boyfriends and girlfriends or with our children as well. This is surely inviting us to create some boundaries there. Or that Neptune might want to be running away or running in or escaping into fantasy, like how a boyfriend should be like, and so on. Now, Pluto makes a quincunx to this new moon as well. And this quincunx is coming from the third house. So, of course, it's interesting. The eighth house is very Plutonian, and then we've got Pluto in the picture as well. So, it looks like that you are learning about your roots. You are learning new ways of making changes in your life. Is it going to be easy? No, maybe what you have learned so far wasn't the right one. Now I'm going to have to adjust it. I'm going to have to revisit what I have learned so far. But you can become so obsessive as well with stuff that you learn or to fix connections in your life that you forget about who you are. So, if you want to go through a healing or a cleansing, a purification process, you might need to be adjusting the road ahead of you. Also, maybe you have got that underlying feeling that what you are learning or how you communicate doesn't quite fit with others, and maybe you decide to make changes. Vesta says focus on your transformation, focus on spiritual work, focus on the healing elements, focus on the psychological depth, and find strength in solitude. Being alone is sometimes super good because then you can make a lot of reflection. Mars says, though, and Mars is there too in your 10th house, which is feeling super motivated to get the work done, to acquire resources and assets to get this business moving. It looks like that Mars is super ambitious right now. So maybe with that Vesta, we are working on a project behind the scenes. Maybe we are about to be offering a particular service. We might not have, we might not know what the right price would be. We might not have the confidence to ask for a certain amount of money, and that's why we've got certain type of hesitations going on here. But at least this Mars wants you to be strategic, apply certain type of strategies to your plans, to your careers, and it can lead to recognition. So that's what's been going on for you. Sagittarius rising sign. It looks like that this week you are really trying to give birth to a creative project that might lead to financial increase in the next 1 year. Take care and let's move on to Capricorn rising. Capricorn rising sign. So the out of bound new moon is taking place in your seventh house, conjuncting Jupiter. So it looks like there is an opportunity here for growth and certain type of fortune through partnerships. When I'm talking about fortune, it can be luck and it could be something, an emotional connection as well, but something that can help or you can benefit from within the relationship. And maybe you are optimistic about partnership right now. Maybe it gives you great expansion through collaboration or even marriage as well. But also, you can just harmonize or you find justice in your interactions with others. This new moon is out of bound though, so this could indicate that we might need to be trying out unconventional things, or we are just going to be expressing our feelings in a little bit more extreme way. Now, this new moon is being squared by Saturn and Neptune as well. I mean, Saturn says there that you have got responsibilities in your home or you have got certain type of limitations by your place of living, for example, and that might be holding you back from being able to grow this relationship further. Imagine that this is a long distance relationship, for example, and then we've got the borders between us, right? But you seem to be constrained a little bit by domestic situations, family duties, or country matters as well, or simply ingrained emotional patterns from the past. Because maybe you got disappointed in the past and then you are a little bit more like less optimistic that you should be. So the learnings here is, or the lesson here is that yes, we're going to have to be able to believe that you are all good to go when it comes to relationship. Watch out because there could be an element of an idealism going on as well, like unrealistic expectations sets being set towards you by the family or you setting those towards a family member as well. And then we can be lacking boundaries within that family or in that home space, and then you feel like that we are just too close. It could lead to misunderstandings. Now, this new moon is being forming a quincunx with Pluto, and somehow there is a tension here between relationships and your personal finances or your self-worth. So I don't feel supported by the person. I've given money to others and then they haven't given it back to me, or your values somehow don't align with the relationship needs, like whatever the partner is asking me to do, that doesn't fit my wallet, that doesn't fit my values. And it looks like that you're gonna have to make a adjustment around how you tackle relationships or how the relationship is impacting your financial security as well as your values. Vesta says focus potentially on your long-term goals. Look at who are supporting your relationships. It says that obviously this Vesta is trying to support the new beginnings that you are about to be initiating. And it says maybe you want to be part of a group. Maybe you want to do certain type of humanitarian efforts. Maybe you want to be making changes in your social network. And that could lead to a stronger foundation for your partnership. You can find strength through these friends and groups as well, or have a goal. Like imagine that you haven't been working for a while and then you had to be depending on the partner. And now it's time to actually focus on yourself, do something meaningful. And then Mars supports you as well. It is giving you the opportunity. It is giving you the drive now. It's somehow an opportunity is coming through a relationship that you might need to be grasping. And maybe this is learning, travel. It looks like that you have got this kind of like hunger now for knowledge and exploration Like you want to be exploring new possibilities. Maybe you even do research or you learn something. But you have got this desire to make better collaborations. So imagine that you're gonna sit down and then you're gonna make an email list and then you're gonna send an email to them to be able to find new clients, to supporters and all those type of things. So there's somehow the partnership can give you opportunities connected to shared intellectual interests. So good luck, Capricorn rising sign, and I will see you in my next video. Let's move on to Aquarius rising. Now, this new moon is taking place in your sixth house. The sixth house governs over work, health, service, and daily routines. So, with the new moon and Jupiter there, it really feels like that it gives you an opportunity to grow when it comes to, for example, the services that you provide. But it can also give you a lot more kind of like responsibilities as well. You can have a lot of stuff on your plate. So you can become super busy. And maybe that Saturn square to it says that you're going to have to be able to say no, or you're going to have to be able to extend the deadline, for example. Because maybe you cannot go to the gym anymore, but also it could indicate that if you start certain type of a good, healthy routines right now, this could be playing out extremely well for you later on. Now, this could be a job opportunity as well, and then you can be super optimistic about it, like, oh, I'm gonna get this job. Am I going to get disappointed with the Neptune square? Maybe that contract needs to be read through properly, even if you get a new job, so that we don't miss little details there. That might be very frustrating later on. But it might be about you doing something that is improving your well-being. So you want to get healthier, and somehow all of a sudden, even your health situation can turn around. Kind of like out of the blue, because this new moon is out of bound as well. Now, however, as mentioned earlier, we've got Saturn square to it. So you've got a lot of work right now, or you've got a lot of health concerns, or you are doing all these health related routines. But it also says that what can slow you down is if you do not communicate, if you do not interact, for example, with your local environment, or maybe you are unable to ask for help. If we have got communicational barriers or difficulties or certain type of mental blocks, or you feel like that a work colleague of yours is limiting you, then what am I gonna do about it? Because this is Aries and I'm gonna have to be able to take action, right? Or so Saturn says you're going to have to be able to organize your thoughts a little bit. You're going to have to be able to communicate more effectively because obviously that new moon in the sixth house is a little bit all over the place. So of course there is Neptune there as well. So that's where, maybe we need to be able to create clear boundaries in our thoughts or how we communicate the daily conversations that we are having, making sure that whatever we say is clear, not so confusing, because that is holding you back from that growth. This new moon quincunxes Pluto in your first house. And it really looks like that you are going through this slow but ongoing and persistent change. And the changes that you are making within the self might be frustrating to your colleagues or to the work that you do, the way you started presenting yourself, for example. But also, it could just indicate that, yeah, one of the reasons why your work is not growing because you started this change, or maybe it's even that you started focusing a little bit more on your body, on self-expression. So it looks like that you're gonna have to be able to adjust somehow how your identity impacts your work habits or even your physical well-being, or how this work or habit is influencing your self-image. Obviously, Pluto is somehow a motivation here. So you can feel super motivated as well to become stronger. Vesta says focus a little bit more on basically it's a deep devotion, right? It's a focused energy. And if we are focusing on career, for example, or the chosen path that we want to be on, it really supports your career, your work, your mental health being as well, well-being as well. It's all about finding your strength and your purpose in your chosen profession. And then if you do the right thing, then you're going to be able to do a better job as well. And Mars is prompting you to analyze, to look at what could be supporting my daily life. And obviously, that Mars wants you to make changes. So it looks like many Aquarius are going to be trying to find a new workplace, for example. Mars says that because there is a desire here for purpose. And that is going to be happening if you are engaging a little bit more with the hidden aspects of your life, or you focus a little bit more on money, or you are ready to make these profound changes. So good luck, Aquarius, and I will see you in my next video. And last but not least, let's look at Pisces rising sign. This new moon is taking place in your fifth house. And the fifth house, the fresh start, is somehow connected to creativity, romance, speculative businesses, or self-expression as well, even a holiday project or something to do with hobbies and playing around. Now, Jupiter is definitely giving you an opportunity, let's say, for growth in any type of creative projects, even in your romantic life. Maybe you are super optimistic that if I express who I am, then I'm going to be able to attract, for example, a new romantic opportunity. But somehow you want to find joy. You want to be able to even share your unique talents with others. Now, this is being squared by Saturn and Neptune. So this new moon, let's say, would like to go on holiday. It would like to invest into a holiday, but we have got certain type of financial limitations here. And it says that we're gonna have to be able to, you would like to, let's say, also go on a romantic date with somehow, but it is clashing with financial realities, or you have got these personal limitations such as self-worth issues, like this person is too good to be good. Jupiter would like you to be super optimistic about it, but Saturn is still bringing up certain type of self-worth issues here. Maybe you feel like that you need a lot greater discipline when it comes to sticking with your values or managing your finances a little bit more. It says we're going to have to have a little bit more of a realistic approach how we handle all these financial or self-worth challenges. Of course, Neptune might be telling us that things are going to be better. Don't worry about it. So Neptune suggests there that we're going to have to be able to set clear boundaries when it comes to who we allow to destroy our self-worth as well as how much money we spend. Because we can have unrealistic expectations about money, or we can become unclear about, for example, how much money I'm about to spend and how much money you are going to be spending. So Pluto is having a quincunx to this new moon as well. And somehow there is this tension between your romantic life or creative life and some certain type of subconscious processes or hidden matters or even your spiritual journey. Maybe this Pluto says that you need to, let's say you want to go on holiday. And maybe it's all about going on holiday alone so that you can explore something about yourself as well. There are these hidden dynamics beneath the surface, and what you show and what you feel might be two completely different things. And that's why we're going to have to make adjustments about it. I mean, there are these urges here for romanticism, romantic desires, but it's being influenced by some of the unconscious patterns or thought patterns that you've got, or even past experiences as well. This new moon is actually in trine to Vesta. And this Vesta says focus on learning about who you are. Travel to a foreign country so that you can start fresh, for example, or dedicate yourself to your philosophical pursuits or your higher learning or the spiritual exploration. And that's going to provide you a stronger foundation of who you actually are. It's about finding strength and purpose in changing your opinion and developing a different worldview. And then it's going to be giving you the chance to be able to be in a romantic relationship or to engage in creative projects with others. It's about sharing your product with others. Mars in the seventh house says that you can actually find a new relationship if you put yourself out there and then you become visible. But the same applies to, for example, a business opportunity as well. Maybe you're going to have to find people you can collaborate with, and you're going to have to analyze your relationship tendencies a little bit also. Like it's about working efficiently together with others. It's about being in service to each other. And obviously, there is a desire here for creative expression and joy and fun in life. And then you can find opportunities through collaborations or clear communication in partnerships. So good luck, Pisces rising sign, and I will see you in my next video. And take care, everyone. So the next videos are pretty much going to be about Uranus, because obviously Uranus is about to be moving into the sign of Gemini. See you in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye.
Every sign and every house, a journey starts and we allow the universe so vast and true. Astro Viktor, it's here for you.